Hey y'all, welcome to Peyton Energetics. I'm Peyton, and today we're going to be talking about a slightly unusual topic, and that is the question of energy tools that are not working for people anymore. So one thing that I am noticing in many of my clients is that tools that people have always used, always relied on, are suddenly not working. It may be a modality that you have been trained in that has always worked great for you, and all of a sudden you're not seeing the same results. Or something that used to work for you, but is not working for you anymore. So I've been talking with the Pleiadians about this to see what is going on. Why are our energy tools not working the same way that they used to? And some interesting answers have been coming through on that. And so I wanted to share it with you guys in case you are noticing that you're hitting some walls with your energy work, that either things that used to work aren't working, or that you're just not making progress in certain areas of your life in general, no matter what tool you bring to bear on it. So today we're going to be talking about why our energy tools are changing, why they're not working the way they used to. So first things first, whenever you notice that there is an area of your life that isn't responding to your energy tools, or that you're not able to change it, maybe you are trying to manifest something and you just can't make it happen no matter what you do, or there's something you want to release from your life and you can't seem to break free of it, we always want to do some digging to see what is going on energetically in that area of your life. So the first thing that I always suggest is, if you find something that you want to create that isn't happening, or something that you have created, and we all have those things that you wish you could release and it's not working, the first thing is always, in my recommendation, to go back to your tools. And the first step is always to make sure that you are actually using energy tools. So what do I mean when I talk about using energy tools? Well, in the energy world, in intuitive practice, we have certain tools that we teach in order to help people protect their energy field, create and manifest what they want, release and heal anything that's not serving them. And so the first thing is always to make sure that you actually have concrete tools that you're using. Because one thing that can happen a lot of times when people aren't seeing the results that they want from their energy work is that they have a lot of knowledge, a lot of information, but they don't actually have concrete tools. And this is something that can happen, especially with do-it-yourselfers. And I know this happened to me for many years when I first started out, where I was watching all the videos, reading all the books, going to the conferences. So I had a ton of metaphysical knowledge, but I didn't have any concrete tools. So while I could talk like a PhD candidate about anything in the spiritual world, I really wasn't seeing any results because I wasn't learning tools. I was learning information, but information doesn't help us change, because in order to change things in our life, as we know as light workers and starseeds, we have to change the energy. So the first step is always to do some self-analysis and ask yourself, from whatever you are learning from, whoever your teachers are, whoever you are following, are you learning tools, or are you learning just information? Because again, in energy work, information doesn't get you very far. So the first thing I see that causes people to stall is that they don't have concrete tools. So the tools that you're looking for are things that help you to balance and protect your energy. So do you have great tools to ground your energy? That's step number one. Do you have tools to protect your energy? And again, a tool is just a process or a procedure, something that is actually moving energy, as opposed to just, thoughts. Now, thoughts, of course, are very important, but our tools are how we move energy. So do you have tools to balance and protect your energy? Do you have tools to actually help you create and manifest? Do you have tools to heal, integrate, and transmute? And so that's the first step. If you go through that checklist and you're like, oh, no, I watched some videos, but it didn't really teach me a concrete practice, and that is step number one when things aren't working. Is you want to, very often what it can help you is to get some tools. So if you don't have tools, you can go back to my earlier videos where I walk you through all the basic energy tools that will help you build a foundational practice. So if you don't have tools, the first step is always to get some. Finding whatever resonates with you, just making sure that you have actual practices and processes to use. If you find that it's just information you're hearing, that could be why things are not shifting for you. Now, the second phase of this, and what this video is really about, is what happens when you have tools. Maybe you have been trained in certain energy modalities, so you have very concrete healing tools maybe, and you're starting to find that they're not working the way they used to. And this is something that I am seeing in a lot of my clients and my students right now. And this is what I wanted to talk to the guides about, to see what is going on here. Why are our tried and true tools not working for us anymore? And there's a couple reasons why that is happening right now. Now, when I asked the Pleiadians about this, they said there are a couple things that are going on that are causing our old tools to not be as effective anymore. And one of the things that is happening is due to the vibration on the planet. And as y'all know, if you follow the space weather, and most lightworkers and starseeds probably follow space weather more than actual weather, you know that for the past 6 months, really for the past year and a half, 2 years, planet Earth has been getting bombarded with galactic energy and solar energy. So what is happening is, as part of our ascension process, the entire frequency of the planet and of our collective is rising. And when that happens, everything starts to shift. And because of that, things that used to work, tools that used to work even 5 years ago, 3 years ago, when Earth was at a lower vibration, may not be as effective anymore because we're not at the same level of frequency. So many of our modalities worked at particular frequencies you can think of. So some of our modalities, as we as a collective start this ascension process, things that were very effective at lower density ranges, lower frequency ranges, might not be working so well anymore. Now, one of the examples that is coming up everywhere with me and my clients is grounding. So if you are on your spiritual journey, probably one of the first things you are taught to do is ground your energy. We all know, because we have been listening to our guides, that grounding our energy is probably the most important thing we can be doing right now. And I know when I was coming through my spiritual education and training, grounding was something that everyone taught me how to do. There was kind of a gold standard process that we all learned in our spiritual education to ground our energy into the earth. But an interesting thing is happening as we are all ascending, and especially for starseeds and light workers who have a higher vibration than the average human to begin with. And then with so many light workers really working intensely on themselves for many years now, what we are finding is that our old grounding process is not working anymore. And so I am starting to see so many clients who, as they go to ground their energy, the way we were all taught to ground, it just feels gross. It just feels like something your body just instinctively doesn't want to do. It can feel very heavy, very dense. And one of the reasons for that is that as light workers and starseeds, we are vibrating at such a rate now, because we've been doing our inner work for so long, that grounding into the planet is too dense. It doesn't feel good to light workers anymore. So what we are having to do is up our skills to get the next level of tool, because the old way very often is not working. Now, if you are someone who has a grounding practice that you've been doing for years, 10 years, even more, and it is working for you, that's awesome. I always say it's not broke. But if you are someone who, like me, I have never been able to ground using the traditional techniques that we're all taught in our spiritual programs. So we've had to be more creative. So the Pleiadians have been bringing through new grounding tools that I've been teaching my clients to help them ground in a way that is more compatible with their current vibration. So again, grounding is one of those areas where people are seeing their old tools just don't seem to cut it anymore. So if you are seeing that your tools like grounding, like energy protection, that used to work for you aren't anymore, it may be time for bigger tools. And one of the things that can happen if your energy tools aren't working for you the way they used to, is it can really cause starseeds to not feel good in their bodies. And as you know, with the energies we have been getting bombarded with lately, it can be a challenge just to be in our physical bodies. There are so many reports of ascension symptoms. And so having a way to move this energy through our body is so critical right now for us as sensitives, which most light workers and starseeds are, for us not to feel burned out by these energies. So it's really important, if you feel like your tools aren't working, that we find a solution to it. Because again, when we're not moving energy through our bodies efficiently, especially with these solar energies that have been coming through, the Schumann resonance being so high, it can really do a number on the physical form. So again, it can cause you to feel very, very uncomfortable in your skin if your tools aren't working and you're not moving energy through your body properly. Now, one of the other reasons the Pleiadians said we can be struggling with our tools right now and finding that we're hitting certain walls. And one way this may show up in your life is those areas that aren't budging no matter what you do. You've used all your tools, you've done your creation work, your manifestation work, your shadow work, you've done everything you were supposed to do, and certain things aren't budging. I asked the Pleiadians, what is going on with this? Why are we doing everything we're supposed to, everything we've been taught, and certain areas aren't budging? And they had a really fascinating answer for us. And what they said is many of the tools that we were all taught, that we learned as we were going through our spiritual training and education, are personal level tools. So the first step for all of us as light workers and starseeds, when we start to get training, we start to learn how to do our inner work, we learn processes. And a lot of times these are personal level processes. So these are the tools that help us to work on ourselves or help a client. They're intended to work one-on-one with our physical beings. But what's happening now, according to the guides, is so many light workers and starseeds have completed their individual work. We've done the work for years. We've done the shadow work, the integration, the transmutation. We have processed, we have healed. And so what's happening is we have done and cleared most of the things that can be cleared from personal level tools. So what happens then is so many starseeds in particular, because of the missions that starseeds come in with to help Earth through the ascension process, a lot of times what happens is we start to bump into energies that are too big for our personal tools. Many starseeds have missions to come in to help Earth clear very massive energies. And sometimes we call these grid energies. Sometimes we call these planetary templates. All of these are massive planetary level energies. And so when we try to use our personal level tools, the ones that work on our personal issues, to try to move or clear planetary energies, it just doesn't work. It is like trying to move your house with your mind. It's just not anywhere near big enough to deal with the energies that we are now confronted with. So one of the things that is coming up for so many starseeds is we've done most of our personal work right now. So we have cleared everything that can be cleared with personal level tools. So it's like we've completed level 1 and we're now moving to level 2, where we're being confronted with much bigger energies. So what do we do, or how do you know if this is what is happening? One of the ways that you know that you are hitting a planetary energy, and I'm going to do another video just on these larger energies, because I think it's something that not a lot of starseeds understand yet, and I think it's really important. So if you're not familiar with the energies I'm talking about, in a future video, we'll go into detail as to what they are and how to work with them. But for right now, you can just think of them as massive collective energies. These are the energies that hold our entire 3D reality in place. So this is not just us working on our inner child and our personal traumas. This is working on the collective trauma. This is working on the energies that hold the 3D matrix in place. So when we get to these energies, these are not individual personal level energies. These are not things that happen to us personally. This is what happened to the entire collective history of humanity over all of the millions of years. And so as starseeds, many of us are here to clear this level of energy. And so especially if you are familiar with what your starseed mission is, maybe you're still figuring what that is out. And I have a video on that if you need some help. But if you are bumping into what feels like very big energies, it could be that you are a starseed here to shift those huge energies. And one of the ways that you will notice is the way it shows up for me is when I am trying to work on something in my life. And of course, we always will tend to experience this in the context of something that we're battling with in our personal life, even though it's not a personal energy. Because if it was a personal energy, it would have responded to our personal level tools. So all those traditional tools that we generally talk about would have resolved this issue. So the way it feels to me when I hit one of these global level energies is I feel like I'm hitting a wall. So I'll be doing my inner work, my shadow work, my creation work, and it's like the image that I tend to get is a balloon bouncing off the ceiling. Like no matter what I do, I'm just hitting a wall of energy that just won't move. And I can feel the resistance around it, and it feels like a massive energy. So if you notice that there's something going on in your life that no matter what you do, you can't seem to shift it, if you feel into the energy, just sit with it, use your normal tools, and then just see how that energy feels to you. If it feels like a massive wall or a very, very dense, heavy weight, there's a good chance you are hitting what we call a planetary template or a planetary grid energy. And so what these are just massive collective energies. And what we have to do to work with these energies is have bigger tools. Basically, our personal level tools are not going to budge these energies. They are way too big. And so trying to shift these energies, and again, the frustrating thing is this could show up as an issue in your life. Maybe you are having relationship issues, and no matter what you do, you can't shift that relationship. It could be because as a starseed, you are here to shift a global template on relationships. Maybe it is the template on abandonment or separation or isolation. So some of these huge planetary energies that go way beyond your personal experience could be why that issue is not shifting. So when we are working with these massive energies, we have to have an entirely different set of tools. Basically, our individual level tools won't budge these. And so that is one reason why we are starting to notice in so many starseeds that we're starting to hit a couple energies that just don't respond. And they will respond. We absolutely have the power and the tools to shift those energies, but we need bigger tools. So if you notice that you are starting to hit this kind of issue in your practice, that a couple things are just not budging, even though you're using your tools diligently, then what could be happening is you could be hitting these massive grid level, creation level energies. And what we have to do is have new tools to move these energies, but these tools require us to be very expert at handling energy. So basically, in order to start to move these huge energies, start to break down these energies, and a lot of starseeds are here to break down these grid energies for the entire collective. So especially if you are a starseed who is a transmuter, which is one of the categories of starseed mission, transmuters in particular are here to break down collective energies. So these are starseeds who are powerhouses at moving energies, and many starseeds are bumping into these energies because that is what they are here to clean, what they are here to break down. So one thing that we have to do is have bigger tools to handle these energies because, again, individual level tools are just not strong enough. But the second thing is we have to be experts at working with energy. So these are not things that you want to try to move when you're newer to your energy work. You want to have an extremely strong energetic field and be very, very strong at transmuting energy, integrating energy, processing energy before you start to take on these massive global energies. But once you have a strong practice, this is the next thing that we are being called to step into as starseeds, to start breaking down planetary 3D grid energies. And again, they're just bigger energies. So as starseeds, one of the reasons our tools are not always working so good anymore, working so well anymore, is because we are being called to level up, to step into the next level of working with energy, having mastered the individual level for the most part. We've done our individual work, and now we are being called to step up and tackle much bigger energies. So if you are finding that your personal level tools are not dealing with everything that is coming up in your life, this may be the sign, your spiritual initiation, that you are being called to the next level as a starseed, that you are being called to work with planetary energies. So again, in the next video, or at least a future video, we will talk about what these planetary energies are, because most of us are not used to working with energies of this scale. These are massive energies, but we absolutely can work with them ourselves. Most starseeds are more than capable of handling this type and level of energy. We just need some new tools to do that. We need bigger tools that can move bigger energies. So it's a different tool than most people have been taught. Most people are only familiar with individual level tools, but as starseeds, we are being initiated to the next level of our soul mission, which is to start clearing energy for the entire collective, getting some bigger tools. So again, let me know in the comments, are you starting to hit walls with your energy tools? What ones are you finding aren't working anymore? Let me know in the comments what your experience is. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button if you haven't done that yet. I'll see you soon. Bye.